Hey everybody, it's Joel, and I'm down at Boom Comics in Topeka, Kansas. We got a weekly update coming up. It's May 22nd, rainy Saturday evening down here. We got a magic tournament going on in the background. I've kind of staked myself out a corner where I think I can get my broadcast done without interrupting the tournament. So let's talk about what's happened in Dryden in the last week, you guys. It's been a fabulous and exciting week in Dryden. We got a whole lot of things going on. I'm going to see if I can cover them all in 10 minutes. The first thing that I need to report is that Laura Conrad, who is the author behind Sky Goddesses of Dryden Volumes 1 through 4, is back. She's going to be writing, again, a short story collection, this time just in print. It's going to be called Armageddon It On, and it's set in very early in the Dryden history. We've got a war that's one of the early resource wars that is being called the Extinction War, and her short story are a collection of sort of bawdy adventures of a young woman trying to survive the resource wars. A couple of those stories won't be in Universe, but most of them will. The cover artwork is already done. It's done by Don Van Osdal, and it looks fantastic, one of our authors here in Dryden. So look forward. I don't have a release date on that. The editor is Tracy Vincent, who's our romance and erotica editor, but look forward for a release maybe late summer of Armageddon It On by Laura Conrad. So awesome. We have a new set of short stories coming out in Universe. Glad to announce that. We got a hyperlink down here below that links to the Spacefreighter's Lounge. Greta von Osdal, who is an established romance and sci-fi romance author, wrote us an absolutely fantastic review talking about the nature of Creative Commons and shared universes on Spacefreighters, and we want to thank her for that. I've also read some of her content lately. She's been talking to Tracy about the possibility of bringing in a little bit of her work into our universe, and we really look forward to that possibility. Greta's writing is fun and exciting to read, and I'd love to see more of it. Sort of as a result of the discussions that we've been having with Greta, there's a little bit of a change in the way that we are treating Belle Epoque, the Age of Beauty, which is a second age in our universe. As you know, that first era is the primer is a very hard sci-fi, sort of cyberpunk universe, and it doesn't have a lot of alien content. It doesn't have a lot of room for expanded civilizations. But at the same time, the fourth era, Codex 2, is very, very soft, and there's a lot of alien species and not necessarily a lot of humans. And we've discovered some pressure to have a place where human governments can exist and interact with aliens in a sort of a loose format between the two. And so in response to some questions from Greta, the Age of Beauty is being sort of opened up. The European is going to take control still of those central human systems, and Il Soltaire is also going to continue to overthrow the corporations, so it's going to knock the corporations down. But sort of that range of colonized planets that's outside of the main run is being sort of opened up to their own governments and their own events and stories, and more interaction with alien species. So if you're a writer that likes alien species and been kind of like, Dryden's really tight on the aliens, we're opening up. We're getting softer, so bring your alien-human interaction story to us. We want to talk about the Age of Beauty and the alien-human interactions that happen there. There's 20,000 years of history, I think, in the Age of Beauty, so we got plenty of room to expand and grow in a sort of middle range, softer than the hard sci-fi, but not yet out to space opera. And that's directly in response to Greta. So Greta, thanks for the space opera review in the Spacefreighter's Lounge. And we have heard and are responding to your questions. The other thing that actually is related to questions that Greta had, she and others have reported that it's very hard to sort of get a grasp on what's going on in Dryden, and we have started a movement to restart the web page with the idea that we're going to set up an introductory section where anybody who's not familiar with Dryden can come in and pick up immediately who we are and what we're doing and how the Creative Commons works. And then we hope to build, and this is based on a suggestion by Gavin Revit actually, a system whereby you can put your content out there or the stub of your story or whatever you're working on, and then tag it so that it relates to other stories. So, for example, if the Il Solitaire appear in your story, you can add a Il Solitaire tag. If you're writing in Codex 2, you can add a Codex 2 tag, so that somebody else that's coming in and they're trying to talk about projects that they're interested in or games that they're interested in building are able to contextualize. Our universe is growing really, really fast, and it's getting hard for people to keep track of what's where. And so we're going to try to build that website back. I don't have anything like a date on that, but the conversation is underway. So Greta, we will be more interpretable going forward in the future. All right, then the next thing, as you know, we have a really nice relationship with Boom Comics here, and one of the things that we're doing with them is that we have a limited edition release of my book, Alder's World Mass 17, which is part 1 of Alder's World, and that limited edition release has content that I wrote and that Gavin wrote, and that is not available anywhere else. It's only for sale here in Boom, so absolutely get a copy reserved here at Boom Comics. The link will be below, so that you can get a copy of that limited release. And we will be doing a total of 3 book release parties at Boom Comics, and the first one is coming up next week on Saturday the 30th. I'll be in the Boom Comics store in Manhattan, which is at 221 North 4th Street from 12 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and I'll have the limited edition copies. I'll have the posters available for sale, and I will also have copies of Sky Goddesses of Dryden and Flashmaster available for sale, and I'll be signing things and hopefully talking to people about the Dryden Experiment and how the Dryden Experiment works. We'll have a handout and a flyer, and then the next week we'll be here in Topeka, but the date that you need to be looking at right now is the 30th in Manhattan, Kansas at Boom Comics. So get your copy reserved, get down there if you happen to be in Manhattan. And that's coming up. All right. So then the next thing that I want to talk about is we've been talking about this idea that we need a not-for-profit. The point of the Dryden Experiment, the universe itself, is that nobody can own it. All of us who contribute to the universe have the ability to build things that we own and we make profits out of in the universe, but the universe itself is not ownable. It's a Creative Commons universe. We all agree to follow the Creative Commons 4.0 BYSA for all of the locations and all of the characters that we create and all of the stories and all the artwork, so that everybody else can riff off of them and we can have this tremendous shared universe. We continue to work on that. It's still very early stages. It just came up for the first time last week that we need to do it. But one part of that that's beginning to be a little frustrating to me is that I publish my own works and other folks' works out of the universe, and it begins to give me too much power that most of the things that are being published in the universe are also coming from me, who is the founder of the universe. Owlman Press and one other publishing company are also publishing things in the Dryden Universe, but I'm doing the most of it. And that's counter to what we're trying to do. We're not trying to set me up as the king of this little universe. We're trying to set this universe up so everybody can have it. So you're going to start hearing a shift in the language, and it's an important one. The Dryden Experiment is the universe. The publishing company that I run is going to be called Dryden House, and we're going to start separating these two, and we're going to put the universe under the not-for-profit, and then Dryden House will be my publishing company off on the side. But it's really, really important that we be very clear, you guys. I can't own the Dryden Universe either. I'm happy to stand up and be its leader and for people to talk about, my role in founding it and so on and so forth. But ultimately, Dryden needs to be in the protection of the not-for-profit, and I don't own it. So I want to make a very clear separation between the universe and Dryden House. So you'll start hearing me talk about the difference between the two. For example, Armageddon It On by Laura Conrad is going to be a publication of Dryden House. The events will be set in the Dryden Universe. So let's just keep very clear. This is about everybody's access to the market and not just my access. And let's be very separate. I have one other conversation I want to mention. I had a really great conversation with Chris Cushing this week. Chris Cushing is a software development guy and understands agile development and understands self-organizing teams. Chris, I hope you've had a chance to look at the materials. I hope you like what you've looked at. I really would like to see that that powerful, independent, we're all working in this cooperatively, understanding of the universe that you have, or business understanding that you have brought to our universe. I think you'd really empower us. I think you could do a lot of good for us. So please drop us a line, get involved. We'd love to talk to you some more. All right, anybody else that's out there, if you're not familiar with the Dryden Universe, please look at the other videos here on the channel. Please go to the Dryden Author and Artist page. In the notes section is a whole lot of our history and why we do what we do. We're a Creative Commons universe, and we're growing like mad. We're having a lot of fun. We're working with a lot of fabulously talented people. There's no way I could, in a single video, thank everybody. Tracy's doing great work. Nick's doing great work. Dan's doing great work. Gavin's doing great work. And everybody owns everything that they create. And it's just really awesome to be a part of this really fabulous and dynamic. And I want to extend a special thanks this week to the folks here at Boom who have made Dryden feel absolutely welcome and loved, and has given us a great floor space to develop so that we can get beyond just Amazon and Kindle and the online market. So that's This Week in Dryden. I'm Joel. This is Boom. Thanks for joining us.